The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the 2023 election, ASUU Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has appointed Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello as the National Youth Coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council. According to a statement earlier in the week, the appointment was conveyed in a letter dated August 8, 2022, which was signed by Tinubu and addressed to Governor Bello. Meanwhile, a youth group under the aegis of the Presidential Support Council has rejected the appointment of Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello as the National Youth Coordinator of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council for the 2023 general election. Speaking during a press conference in Lafia on Monday, the national leader of the group, Kazim Ahmed, said they were not in support of the appointment because it was to be given to a person not more than 40 years of age. The group then urged the Kogi State Governor to openly reject the offer in order to pave way for the youths in the party to also contribute their quota to the Presidential Campaign Council. Joining us now from our Abuja studio is Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, the newly appointed National Youth Coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council. Good morning, Governor Yahaya Bello. Thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Arufai.
Morning.
And good morning to viewers across the world.
Well, I'm sure, Governor, you had the introduction about how some young persons within the APC are saying that you are too old for the job of National Youth Coordinator. They say, well, you are closer to the side of 50 than to 40. And they think that that position should have been given to a much younger person. And they are urging you to step down and allow younger people to take on the task. What do you say to that?
To the glory of God Almighty, I appreciate the appointment, the recognition, the pronouncement by our leader and candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu to lead or to coordinate the activities of youths and younger generation across the 36 states of the Federation and FCT in this presidential campaign of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Shetima Presidential Campaign bid. You recall that I became governor at the age of 40, youthful age, and as the youngest governor for the last 6 years and counting, with cognate and requisite experience of galvanizing, mobilizing, and coordinating the young people affairs, including women and people living with disabilities. I think I am properly placed to coordinate the activities of the younger people across the country. Let me tell you that my appointment is not a youth leader. I am not a youth leader. I am not youth president. I am not youth chairman. I am the youngest governor for the past 6 years, and by my experience and from my pedigree and achievement and record of inclusivity of younger generation and youths and women and people living with disabilities in governance and in all other activities across the country, I think our leader and our candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu have exercised his eagle eye and sight by spotting me to come and lead this crusade.
All right, Mr. Governor, once again, congratulations on your appointment as National Youth Coordinator. But please, help me understand, you are 47 years old. Are you a youth? Because according to the laws in Nigeria and the new youth policy, a youth in Nigeria, citizens are citizens between the ages of 18 to 29. However, the African Youth Charter recognizes youth as people between the ages of 15 and 35. So, are you a youth?
I am a young man with the requisite experience, starting from my activities as the youngest executive governor since 2016 till date, and by my experience and activities and successes that I have recorded in the last 6 years and more by coordinating and galvanizing and putting together the younger generation and youths across the country. You see, in this particular campaign organization, or in the runoff to this 2023 general election, we're looking for who have the experience. We're talking of winning. I am not a youth. I am a young man, and I belong to the younger generation, and I am to coordinate the activities and ensure that I bridge the gap between the younger generation and the older generation for the success of our campaign. Like I said, I am not a youth leader. I'm not appointed as youth leader. We have a youth leader in Israel. We have youth presidents across various youth groups across the country. And all I need to do is to galvanize and coordinate them. And I have done that successfully over the years, and the records are there to show. So I think I congratulate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, too, our leader and our father, for spotting me to come and put to bear my experience and expertise in bringing together all this younger generation. Before the presidential campaign, I'm sure you are aware that GYB is everywhere and largely been taken over by the younger generation. And that is what we are bringing to bear. So I think it is the experience and my connectivity with the younger generation. Even anybody that is older than me who have the connection with the younger or youths will equally can be appointed. And let me tell you, for instance, today, the Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Sunday Dare, is by way, I think, about 5 years or so older than me. But he is in charge and coordinating the affairs of youth and sports in this country. So he cannot be said to be a youth, but he's coordinating the youth affairs. The former Minister for Youth Affairs, Mr. Solomon Dalong, is equally not a youth, but he coordinated that affairs. So also several other youth-based organizations across this country who can do the job, who will be able to bring together all these younger generations so that they can be streamlined, they can understand, and they will be able to follow and deliver. In these coming general elections, I can bet you, I can assure you, that the pronouncement of Governor Yahaya Bello to come and coordinate the activities of younger generation in this country has already, swelled the camp of our leader and our presidential aspirant by multiple fold. So I think any amorphous group that are making noise there, they all belong to me. They should just come on board and come and learn experience from me.
Well, Governor, in May, you were a presidential aspirant on the platform of the APC, and you lost to ASUU Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that went that way. Before the primaries, you had said you were not intimidated by anybody. But now you've been quoted as saying your appointment as National Youth Coordinator for the campaign came to you as a surprise. Why the surprise? Is it that you were not consulted? How did it come about? Because why would you be surprised that ASUU Bola Ahmed Tinubu chose you?
Yeah, thank you very much. I contested to be the president of this country under the platform of All Progressives Congress. In May this year, the presidential primaries came and gone, and I did not win, but I learned. And I learned from a champion, which is Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our candidate, our father and our leader. So that particular exercise have come and gone. I am a progressive-minded person. I don't cry over a spilled milk. It has gone. And the surprise aspect of it is that this is a leader or a politician who ordinarily going by Nigeria political contest, and of course, drawing from other experiences that we are experiencing now in other political parties, where a presidential candidate is fighting other aspirants, especially aspirants with potential. Now, here is our leader, who have decided to go on reconciliation, not only reconciling, but bringing together all aspirants and deem it necessary without necessarily consulting me and said, come and do this job. He knows surely that I am 100% APC party loyalist from day one until the end of my political career. And for him to have known my mindset and then spotted me and then appointed me, I think it's a surprise that such a man have again displayed his political prowess, his sagacity, his ability to choose quality, somebody who can get the job done. And I have no any other option than to come and render my services and bring together my experiences to assist all other interest groups, to assist Nigerians, to assist the leaders, to assist the party towards resounding victory in the coming general elections. And it's an appointment, one appointment that was welcome and is still being welcomed by multitude of millions of Nigerian youths, women, people living with disabilities, and even elites alike.
All right, sir, there's a zeitgeist. Most of the Nigerian youths happen to have gravitated towards the Peter Obi candidacy. How can you tell Nigerian youths to vote in Bola Tinubu that is 70, as he says? How can you convince Nigerian youths to vote in Bola Tinubu, your candidate?
Thank you. It is not as he says, it is in record that Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the age that has been put out there, and the age gap between himself and Peter Obi is about 8 years, and the gap between our candidate and the candidate of PDP is about the same 8 years. None of them is a youth. If anybody would have qualified to belong to the age of younger generation or youth, I would have been the one. But that exercise have come and gone. They are gravitating towards there now in the social media. Erufai, let me tell you something. That is why I dove my heart for Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for have seen me and appointed me. You know, politics in the social media and politics, practical politics, they differ. When I assumed office as executive governor on 27th of January 2016 in Kogi State, nobody will give me any chance that I'll be able to return back. But I was able to connect with the people, with the younger generation, and they now followed me. And let me tell you, it's not only me alone, including even Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself, our candidate, His Excellency. Remember, even before appointing me, there are a multitude of younger generations who are rooting for him because of his record of achievements and successes in business, in politics, in governance, philanthropically, and all otherwise. So there are several others. So now, we put together side by side his experience, what he has achieved, and side by side with others. And then the practical foot on ground. Who are those that have the experience at the end of the day in terms of politics and electioneering? Electioneering via social media is different from physical one. And this is the appropriate time to educate our younger generation, not to be carried away by euphoria or by certain sentiments, and then we now mislead ourselves. So we're going to put it in the right perspective, why they should vote Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and why APC should be returned back to office so that we can continue to consolidate and do more for our people. Remember, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not just select me or appointed me. He looked into my track record of successes in Kogi State, and he knows that I will be able to convince the younger generation, having followed me in their millions before the presidential primaries. He knows surely that I am only coming to add value to that campaign process. So between himself and all the two other major presidential candidates, he is towering higher than all of them. So we'll have enough to convince the younger generation to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, Governor Bello, because of your position as governor of Kogi State, I'm sure that there will also be some reactions by your from your major constituency in Kogi State. They will say, well, they have chosen our governor as national coordinator for youth at the campaign council level in the APC. Would that not affect his commitment in Kogi State, paying attention to important things? Because some of them have been raising issues about payment of salaries, salary arrears, and such other issues. You don't think that people who take on your kind of task will be distracted from their main assignment? Because the primary interest of the people of Kogi State will be you focusing on their own issues at a time when you are not running for position.
This is why, again, I still dove my heart once again for our leader, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for selecting a multitask personality like myself. Right from day one, I become the executive governor. I hit the ground running. I took over Kogi State with multiple challenges. And today, those challenges are running, or we are dealing with it squarely, and we're getting results. First, from the challenges of insecurity, from salary arrears are inherited and pension, from infrastructural decay, and from disunity, and several others. Today, Kogi is wearing a new look. Kogi is united than ever before. Today, we are not owing a dime in terms of salary. The records are there. I urge everybody, including yourself, Ruben, my brother, to please go and visit our website. All records are there for anyone to verify. Now, from that very first day, I was able to recruit, train, groom, mentor younger generations, tapping from the experience of some credible elders and credible elites within the state and outside the state. And I've been able to come up with a team that are helping me to run and administer Kogi State today. And that is where we are as a state that borders up to 9 or 10 states in this country. And yet, we are soldiering on. With the little resources prudently managed, yet we are able to still putting infrastructure in place. With the little resources, we are able to combat insecurity without necessarily crying foul or running to Mr. President every day. With that and all of the experiences that we have been able to garner over the years, politically, administratively, and otherwise, the state will only be on cruise control. My people are there, and it is not something that's going to take me out of the state completely. I will be able to manage the affairs of the state and that of the national coordination of youths so that we can have a success and a resounding victory come 2023 presidential election. So Kogi State is solid, and Kogi State is a state that I will even urge some other states to come and learn. Whether you are a business owner, whether you are whatever, come to Kogi State and learn how we've been able to manage this multi-ethnic, enclave, a state that is bordering both north and south and several other states in this country. And the narrative have completely changed. So I think that is where, again, all Nigerian youths, millions of my followers and lovers and well-wishers will continue to applaud this man called Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is coming to, as well, help in galvanizing the energies and everything of this country to a better success.
Okay, Governor, what does your party, the APC, want to sell to Nigerian youths when under your APC administration, we've had now one of the highest levels of youth unemployment in this country? It's over 50%. Youths don't just have jobs. Over 13,000 Nigerian healthcare workers have gone to the UK in the space of 2 years because of the economic situation we are in. What does your government want to sell to the youth when you can't give them jobs?
Erufai, thank you for this. You see, I will approach this question this way. The statistics or the numbers you just read out, where are they coming from?
NBS.
What are the processes? You see, let me tell you, most times, or most of the times, we question and query the statistics. Because I am most affected sometimes in Kogi State. For instance, NBS or in the media or out there, people used to say, oh, Kogi State is owing salaries, we are not paying salaries, we are owing 18 months. Even one particular elite once put it in his Facebook that I'm owing salary up to, is it 18 or 12 months? That is, and that person is supposed to be a credible leader in his own right. So that, and after, within how many hours, he has to put down that information. So there are some informations out there that are misleading, let me tell you. I am not saying that are there no jobs to be done, I mean work to be done on unemployment, improvement of our economy. Then the next thing is, which of the countries of this world is having it rosy now? In fact, if anything, without this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari under APC, probably Nigeria would have been partly sold to either Chinese or to any other person outside this country because of the way and manner the country's economy is being managed before we came on board in 2015. There are areas that we need to improve on. And of course, let me tell you, Erufai, that in every system, there are saboteurs, there are Judas, and we have them abound in this APC administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, from within and outside, from the inner carcass to the outside. I must tell you the truth. So, and for President Muhammadu Buhari and APC and all of us to continue to soldier on and keep moving without breaking, I think we need to give ourselves that.
So two things I'd like to get right, Governor. Are you saying that the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics stats is wrong? Are you saying that the NBS has wrong statistics, which is a federal institution? And secondly, you said you have run the economy so well. Have you run it so well now that we have 119% as regards, debt to service ratio now? That we struggle to pay our debt. Have we run it so well that over 6 trillion is paid in subsidies, and Nigeria's debt keeps mounting, that the National Assembly had to say that our debt is alarming? Over 42 trillion from a debt stock of over 10 trillion in 2015.
Put my earlier responses and replies into perspective. There are areas to be improved upon. There are saboteurs. Still, in the midst of all of that, the country is still moving on. Mr. President continued to improve on our infrastructure, and then we're still moving on. No country in this world will have it rosy 100%. That is number one. Number two, on the issue of Bureau of Statistics, we need to begin to scrutinize some of these agencies' mode of doing things. If we can say that certain things are run wrongly and is accounting for some of the challenges we are having today in our economy, in our youth employment, and the rest, why don't you think that Bureau of Statistics as a federal government agency that Mr. President inherited but did not rejig appropriately would not be there to sabotage and dish out numbers that are not correct? And let me tell you, for them to come out clean, they should show us the processes. What are the methodologies do they apply? Let us see the processes and the formulas they apply. And how did they carry out their sample test or whatever it is for them to come up with these numbers. Don't misquote me. I am not saying there are no challenges. There are. But it is a lot more better than what we would have witnessed if we had allowed PDP to continue. The rate at which the country was nosediving before this administration came on board, you can compare it with now, compare it with the challenges that the country or the president or the APC or the government or Nigerians are facing today. You can compare it with the rate at which we were nosediving then and now.
Well, Governor, at this point, we'd like to take a short break. After the break, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still the governor of Kogi State, Governor Yahaya Bello, who has just been recently appointed National Youth Coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima APC Presidential Campaign Council. Governor Bello, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, okay, now let's look at strategy, considering the persona, not your personal administration now, the persona of your candidate. In fact, both of them, your two candidates. One, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is held responsible by many young persons one way or the other for all kinds of issues, including the NSAS protests here in Lagos. Well, he has said he had no hand in it and all of that, but there is that perception there, particularly among younger persons. His campaign managers say he's going to campaign on the basis of his record of performance in Lagos State. There are many young people who say, well, in Lagos, you know, he just dominated the state for so many years, and they don't want somebody to come and dominate the whole of Nigeria. Third, they raise a question about age, which you try to address earlier on. And then the running mate, former Governor Kashim Shettima, you also know, the attitude of many young people, not just on social media, but across the spectrum, about his attitude towards, education, towards, intertribal relations and all of that. Now, I imagine that the youths you are going to mobilize, they are not just APC youths who may be already converted, even if some of them are, objecting to your leading the process. But how do you intend to deal with all of this?
Thank you. I will not dwell much on the persona of our candidates, now, because it's not a time for open campaign. When the time comes, by the special grace of God, there will be enough to tell Nigerians and Nigerian youths and younger generation why they should vote Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But let me take you through this. I think as at the time the NSAS protest began, it was generally reported, acclaimed, and believed that it was organic. Something that was organic. How then do you finger or accuse my principal, our leader and candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, of inciting or having hands in NSAS? I could recall vividly that during that NSAS protest, I addressed the nation, I addressed the younger generation, I addressed the NSAS protesters 3 times from Lokoja, the state capital, Kogi state capital, where I did address them that the process, the manner, the way in which this NSAS, the protest is being carried out, nothing will come out of it. They don't seem to have a leadership at that time that could chest out, that could come out. You can't really place the face of these protesters to 1 or 2 or few leaders at that time. And I did volunteer that government, governance, or system is never approached this way. There are certain ways you approach the government or system and get result. There's not seems to be any cogent, all the demands of NSAS mentioned. They are cogent as they are. It couldn't be, coordinated. It couldn't be well articulated for government to really listen. At that time, I offered to allow me to even channel or lead their grievances, not to lead the protest on the street. And then I did urge them not to take laws into their hands at that time. But nobody seems to listen. And then we have seen the resultant effect and the consequences on lives and livelihoods that were destroyed by some other miscreant who hijacked the process. And even the cost to our economy and businesses across the country and the image it has given to us and they themselves. So now, how do you now point accusing finger on our leader on this particular one? I don't know until maybe, probably there's any security report that can be published or brought out. And I don't think there's anything of that nature. So it's the same manner. If you look at it now, that is the same manner and same pattern that certain very, sizable number of, just few member of the youth group are agitating now for some other, candidates and what have you, and they're going about it in a very wrong way. That is why I still, give credit to our leader for appointing me, for choosing me to lead and educate and, sensitize our younger generation as to how to go about seeking for good governance and dividend of democracy in this current dispensation of ours. Ruben, let me tell you, certain woes and certain problems and challenges we are facing today in this Nigeria can be attributed largely to some disgruntled elites who refuse to tell the younger generations the truth and the reality of things. Rather, the past system that we inherited as of 2015 have really indoctrinated and impoverished and putting down the younger generation that we are grappling with today. What we are seeing today is the effect of what has been caused in the past. And it is not easy. It is not a 100-meter dash for us to be able to just solve it. So it's a Herculean task. And I know that Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the master tactician, is coming on board to come and tackle some of these challenges. Okay,
Governor, real quickly. You said something earlier on I'd like to interrogate, but also with facts. You said something. You said, if we had continued under the PDP, Nigeria would have been sold to China. As at 2015, when the PDP was in power, our national debt was about or less than 10 trillion. Today is 42 trillion. So under your administration, the APC, we have borrowed more, and Nigeria is having a debt crisis. Some people would say, it's even your party that has borrowed more. What would you say about that? And also, you talked about saboteurs. I'll give you some stats. Somebody that served in the Presidential Economic Council, top economist Bismarck Rewane, was giving some stats about different governments compared together. And he said this. He said GDP growth during President Obasanjo was 7.7%. During Yar'Adua was 7.1%. During Goodluck Jonathan, 5.5%. But during this administration, President Muhammadu Buhari, 1.1%. Inflation under this administration is all-time high. We are 20.2%. That's a 17-year high. Also, foreign exchange, the rate of increase to the naira to the dollar is 150.2% under President Muhammadu Buhari. When we started, we know what the naira to the dollar was. Now it is well over a certain amount. 700 on the parallel market, over 400 on the I&E window. And he said many other things as regards debt and all of that. With all of these facts, would you say that as regards the economy, you've had failures with this administration?
There are challenges as regards this economy. Let me take you this way, Erufai. In Kogi State, let me start from Kogi State alone, because when you're calculating the GDP, I always challenge, our elites. This is the part of what I am saying about issue of our elites and them trying to manipulate figures for political reasons or for whatever reasons. In Kogi State today, did whoever bring out these numbers, have they come to count the number of farmers we engaged, the number of youth we gave employment directly and indirectly, and several other economic activities that are taking place in Kogi State alone, not to talk of moving around the country. What are the yardstick? You see, because some people made name over time and they come over and brandish numbers. I will not. I'll take it with a pitch of salt. I am practically in government today, and I'm a chartered accountant, and I know some of those numbers and figures. So nobody will bring out any number out there, and I'll just take it hook, line, and sinker. I will challenge it, and I'll continue to challenge those numbers. As for exchange rate, yes, there are a lot of challenges there. Let me put it that way. And I think let the CBN governor. I will not bite bullet for somebody in that. Let the CBN governor come and tell Nigerians why it is, things are the way they are. That is the truth of the matter. Myself, I don't subscribe to what is happening, and I think some people should be held responsible for that. Now, there's a particular one you just said now. Please, can you remind me? You're talking of... hello, Rufai.
I gave you many numbers. I gave you GDP growth. GDP, averagely, under this administration, 1.1. Under Olusegun Obasanjo, 7.7.
I've just recalled now.
Yeah.
I have just recalled now, Erufai, you're talking of borrowing, the debt rate.
Yes.
Erufai, yes, a lot of money have been borrowed, but look at our infrastructure today. Aren't you proud of Lagos to Ibadan expressway that is ongoing? The various airports that have been remodeled, the railways, and several other infrastructures. Are you not proud of Second Niger Bridge and several other infrastructures that have been put in place by this government? You see, I don't know why some people within the system would decide to keep quiet and not come out and tell Nigerian public, these monies are being borrowed and this is where it is being invested, and let Nigerians know. And that is still the conspiracy of some Nigerian elites, both within and outside. And for whatever reasons, I don't know. So, yes, there are these challenges. And when you're talking of debt, President Muhammadu Buhari borrowed and invest in our infrastructure and the rest. We didn't borrow to consume. But in the past, monies were being borrowed to even pay salary. It is not taking place under President Muhammadu Buhari.
But we are still borrowing to pay salaries now, sir.
Both from within and outside.
But we are still borrowing now to pay salaries.
Well, I am not aware. I am not borrowing to pay salary.
Aren't we borrowing to pay subsidies and salaries now?
Issue of subsidy is a different kettle of fish. Is it not the same administration that wanted to remove subsidy, and then Nigerian public and elites sponsored some protests and here and there to protest against the removal of subsidy? These are issues that will be brought to fore during campaign proper.
Okay, Governor. Recently, there was a poll that was conducted by ANAP Foundation in collaboration with NOI polls. And in the table that was provided, it was indicated that Mr. Peter Obi is comfortably ahead of the other major presidential candidates, in this case being your principal, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and the lone outsider there, Senator Rabiu Kwankwanso. Now, but there was something in that table that was provided by ANAP polls. They said in the South, that if the election were to be conducted today, that your candidate will score 0%. Also, it was awarded 0% by the polls in the Southeast. Now, I imagine, I don't know what their sample size was, but I imagine that some of the respondents will also be young people. So, but if, as of today, your candidate is given 0% in the Southeast, 0% in the South-South, how do you intend to mobilize young voters in those two geopolitical zones?
Ruben, my brother, in 2019, when I was running for my second term election, two of my colleagues, let me put it this way, two of my colleagues who are known to be smart, who are known to be very sound, conducted polls differently at different times. And I was given, I don't think they rated me to have come even third or fourth in that particular election. By the special grace of God, I recorded a number that was never recorded in the history of political elections or political processes in Kogi State. At that time when they brought out the result, just like you are reeling out now, I laughed. I said, well, I may score 0 in the polling units in the social media, but when INEC is conducting the election, or when they conduct the election, I know I will win, based on what I have done on ground, based on the conviction of the electorate. And we proved them wrong. Let me tell you, Ruben, that those polls, maybe there are polling units in the social media where they were able to conduct these opinion polls, or I don't know any of the polling units, in my states or any other states where, opinion polls were conducted and then our candidates, did not record numbers in these areas you are talking about. Ruben, practical politics is different from social media noise. And let me tell you that more than just announcement or pronouncement of Governor Yahaya Bello coordinating the youth of this country have completely broken down whatever noise that is ongoing over there. And remember, let me tell you, this is an era of IT, information technology system, whereby somebody can sit in his bed and generate polls and generate noise and make noise everywhere, and it seems to be real. It is completely false. Before the presidential primaries, we tested a mic whereby we call on all our supporters to show their force and strength in all the 36 states of the Federation and FCT at once, one same day simultaneously. And Nigerians saw it practically. Not hiring, taking few number, endangering the number of in the lives of some youths, taking them from one point to another. I will educate them. We will tell them the reality. They will know because they believe in me. They believe in our candidate. They believe in his capacity and sagacity. They believe in his experience. When the time comes, Ruben, I don't think some people will come far distant third or fourth in this coming general election. Okay, so presidential candidates have what it takes to win 100%.
Okay, so Mr. Governor, let's go back to the facts. On the 2nd of January 2012, the Goodluck Jonathan administration removed subsidy that led to a national protest that was supported by members of your political party, civil society. We remember Occupy Nigeria. Why was it not fashionable then, as of 2012, when the economic indices was good, to remove subsidy? Why did your political party said no to removal of subsidy then? Because they went out on that protest and this country was shut down for like a week on the 2nd of January 2012.
Well, the exigencies of that time probably wouldn't support or warrant the removal of subsidy at that time. And the optics have changed, today. And removal of subsidy now immediately in the manner that the public or some elites want us to remove the subsidy, may not necessarily be very comfortable now. But in the end, the subsidy will have to be removed, but not in the manner they wanted it to be removed in this current dispensation. I am not in any way supporting subsidy. I support that the subsidy should be removed completely, 100%, complete 100% deregulation. But currently, I don't think it supports, the situation will warrant or will, give us that latitude to remove it immediately now.
Well, Governor, recently in Kogi State, you signed into law the signage agency bill, which prescribes rates, as reported in the papers, for politicians and political parties that want to campaign. For presidential election, we're told you have to pay up to about 10 million naira for your billboards or posters to show up anywhere in the state. For governorship, maybe 5 million. For Senate, 2 million. For local government chairmen and the House of Assembly members, rates, about 1 million. And for councillors and all these people, 500,000. Well, is this a revenue drive initiative or just an attempt to make sure that there is a strong law in place ahead of the 2023 general elections so that your party can just hold down Kogi State and exclude as much as possible other political parties? Because there have been reactions in some other parts of the country that when it is election time, that's when there is an issue over access to billboards, to signages, and to even the media in states.
We must continue to run government, and we need resources to run government. And we will continue to expand our tax base and drag in a lot of tax heads in order that we generate enough to run our government. Billboards, posters does not portray your popularity. Even in some areas in this country, or even in my state, there are places that my posters never surfaced, but I want those areas. So it is not geared towards any political opponents in order to stifle them, not at all. There are other businesses and measures we are taking to ensure that other businesses that are existing in our state flourish, they pay their tax, they contribute meaningfully so that they can continue to enjoy the social infrastructure that we are providing in the state and to continue to do more for our people. So basically that is what it is.
Okay. You talked about the fact that we borrowed to do infrastructure and we took the debts, and a lot of people can see all the works you've done, the expressways, the rail lines, and people give kudos to this administration for all the works you've done. But I'd like to ask, why didn't that infrastructure work involve the security surveillance system that ought to have been installed in the Kaduna-Abuja rail line that was picked up as a point when the place was attacked? That infrastructure, one of your infrastructure, the Kaduna-Abuja rail line, cannot be used again after that attack. And they said people dropped the ball. So is it that the infrastructure was not holistically done?
We should appreciate the fact that, first of all, it is most unfortunate, and my heart continues to go out to those who lost their lives and those who went through that torturous moment of that dastard act. However, we should appreciate the fact that this administration have been able to put that infrastructure, even if it is not 100% perfect the way we wanted it. Even in advanced countries where we have some of these infrastructures 100% put in place with surveillance camera, with even drones flying across at all times, they still experience some of these challenges sometimes. This is one of the emerging challenges that this administration is witnessing, and the government is dealing with it squarely. And I know surely that with the coming administration of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, majority of this will be taken care of and more.
Well, Governor, as we begin to wrap up, just one final question from me. And this has to do with the lingering ASUU strike, over 200 days. This week, students shut down the access road to the international airport in Lagos. Today, they've threatened to do the same thing in Abuja. By tomorrow, they will stage protests in the south-south, in the southeast, and also block major highways. Even the Abuja-Kaduna road, they are saying they will shut it down. Nobody will be able to move anywhere because government has refused to address the demands of the university teachers. And these are young people who are in distress. What's your position on their protests? And we haven't, is there a position by your candidate on this ASUU strike?
I am deeply concerned about our children and the younger generation's future that is being toyed with today. I'm deeply concerned and I'm deeply pained. Let me take you down the memory lane. When I assumed office as executive governor in Kogi State, I inherited a long-lingering ASUU strikes by other tertiary institutions, secondary and even primary, and some other workers in Kogi State by NLC. I immediately zeroed in and solved this problem. And today, 6 years counting, no one single uninterrupted academic exercise or academics in Kogi State. Rather, we are improving on our academics and so on in Kogi State. Kogi State students are well behaved, they are everywhere, and they're excelling very well even after school. Unfortunately, this is still part of the saboteurs or sabotage that I am saying, or I'll be referring to, in this administration from within and outside. Let me admonish the nuns and our younger generation, just like I did to NSAS when it was just starting then. Please don't take laws into your hands. Myself and our candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is deeply concerned, including Mr. President. We're all concerned about this lingering crisis. What this administration failed to do is to remove the political aspect of ASUU and other associated problems from the academics. And that is why we are facing what we face today. At an appropriate time, we are going to point out to you who are those that are responsible. Now, don't take laws into your hands. NSAS, we know exactly what happened. You take to the streets, there are hoodlums out there who are ready or who have been sponsored to hijack the protest from you. And then at the end of the day, we may pay heavily for this. So I urge you not to go to the street. Our candidate is doing so much from behind the scene to ensure that this particular impasse is brought to an end. He can't come out now to come and tell the whole world or show to the whole world what he is doing before he's been accused of running a parallel government. But he's doing everything possible to support the government, to support the lecturers, to support the students, and even younger generation to ensure that all of these crises are put behind us. And I know that very, very soon, all of these problems will be behind us. And when he comes on board, our academic and educational system in this country will be revamped and revitalized.
We would like to thank you very much, Governor Yahaya Bello, for joining us on the morning show today. Thank you very much indeed.